Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's the Word? I'm your host, Phil Giovanni, and I'm joined by Evan Williamson.
Hey, everyone. To start off, Ronda Rousey has gone from UFC champion to a WrestleMania feature. Her career has been a bumpy one, but she may found her a new home.
With Ronda Rousey leaving the UFC and joining with the WWE, she originally lost to Holly Holm in her last UFC fight. She broke her jaw in multiple places, was not able to fight for over a year, and lost to reigning champion at the time, Amanda Nunes. She went 12 for 12 for her UFC career, won 9 of those matches by armbar. And as you can see, she is just a force in the WWE. Now, Evan, I watched WWE when I was younger, and you love it now today. I figured you're the best person to ask. Does Ronda belong here in the UFC, and does she have the personality to survive?
In the WWE, yes.
And
The personality is not quite there yet, but she'll get there. I mean, she did awesome at WrestleMania in the ring, so I think that she's within her element. I think she could do really well.
Yeah, I like her move because she didn't, as you said, she didn't have the greatest personality going into this, but as she's moved on and her athleticism is already there, which is something you can worry about when you're dealing with a new WWE talent. And like you said, the personality can come, but it just might not be right now. But are you surprised by this move to the WWE after UFC, after Brock Lesnar did the move originally?
Well, Brock Lesnar started off in WWE and went to UFC and went back. I'm not surprised at all. I saw this coming a long time. I figured after seeing her at WrestleMania 31 a couple of years ago that she would be making an appearance sooner or later, and I'm not surprised that she signed a full contract.
And I'd like to hear your impact on the WrestleMania as she fought Kurt Angle, as she worked with Kurt Angle and fought against Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. How did you think she left her impact at WrestleMania?
She surprised everybody. Like, I was expecting her not to be as good since it was her first match, but she went above and beyond expectations. That was probably one of the matches of the night.
Yeah, I mean, and it was such a back and forth battle too, and seeing them both almost get demolished in that fight was incredible, the way they were able to make a comeback. So I think she did a really good job on obviously the grandest stage of them all, the hardest pay-per-view event to live up to the hype with in WrestleMania. I mean, that's just not easy. So, but personally, I just think she has the athleticism, like I said. What are the challenges to being a WWE superstar that she needs to face still, though?
Well, she's going to have to, I mean, she's already taken some of her bumps. I mean, I guarantee, like, she's already probably done more than she had to do in the UFC because she's been on the road a lot already. And she's going to be on a European tour, so she'll be going to Europe and doing it. She's confirmed to have at least one match on the European tour. I don't know if she will have others on the European tour. But, yeah, it's definitely hard to take. Like, it's scripted, it's entertainment, but you still have to get punched a little bit.
Oh yeah,
to make it real.
And as you said, it's much different. You go from a match every other week or every 2-3 weeks or so, and then we go into where it's the UFC. You fight once every couple months, and that's a huge difference. That's a lot more toll on your body being able to take being thrown around and having that endurance every single night in and out. So. It'll be interesting, but since her debut, what has she done since then that's really surprised you and let you down?
Well, again, I wasn't really sure about her personality. I mean, her mic skills, she needs to work on her mic skills. She, at first, was, just smiling all the time, which probably was from, Vince McMahon himself saying, because the good guys need to smile.
Right.
But I've seen her be able to, have that intense face also, so she's been getting that. Her striking, it looks too fake, her striking, but you're going to have that. I mean, she's used to actually striking, so she's going to need to, trust herself more not to knock anybody out on accident.
Mm-hmm.
Also, her arm bars, the one at WrestleMania was good. Her last 2 arm bars, she has bent the arm like that, which is fine because, that way, you're less likely to actually hurt somebody that way. But I think she can. I mean, she needs to work with some of the veterans for a little bit. I do not think that she should be a championship match anytime soon.
No, and as you said, her striking just isn't great. Her grappling is amazing, though, obviously. She's a judo champion. She's an incredible grappler, always was in the UFC. And so seeing that, being able to translate to the ring, to a 4-sided ring rather than an 8-sided one, is definitely a huge jump. And hopefully we could see some great stuff from her. And you said you don't see a championship match coming soon.
I hope I don't see a championship match.
No, you don't think so?
I mean, if WrestleMania 35, I think this is the next one, WrestleMania 35, she will probably win a championship at that event. Maybe even be the main event of that, which would be the first ever women's main event at WrestleMania, which will be huge.
Yeah, and she's broken a lot of records in the UFC, and I bet she's looking forward to breaking a lot of records in the WWE. But to move on from there, we're going to move from the 4-sided ring to the 4-sided arena outside, I guess, basically. Rizzo wants a shorter MLB season. He wants to reduce it from 162 games down. Evan, this is interesting. We don't usually hear athletes talk about shortening schedules, but and Rizzo is a very prominent athlete in baseball. What does this say to you?
I never liked, them complaining about. I mean, this has been like this for years. I mean, it's not like NBA where they added games to it. I mean, they've had 162 games, both leagues, since 1962. So, I mean, this is nothing new. I mean, I think they may have added more playoff games, but it's nothing new. I mean, you just play.
Yeah, I mean, you sign up for the sport, you know what you're getting into, and that's a lot of games to be able to take on a one season. But personally, I don't think that this season needs to be shortened. I think baseball is a very long and tedious sport. It's a very stretched out over a long period of time over the year, and I don't know. My whole thing on baseball is, I know people disagree with this, it's a game of standing or sitting and waiting. And I think 162 games, while that is a lot, there's a lot of wear and tear on certain positions, like pitchers, for example. Pitchers have to come out once a game, sometimes twice, and sometimes they don't play for a game in order to reserve their energy.
They usually have a five rotation.
Right, and that's why they're able to keep them healthy. I think you shorten down the season. I think that makes pitchers be able to play longer. But at the same time, you're not going to be able to try out these other guys that you want to move in to see if they can fit in that right spot. And as I said, tradition can always be broken. If they want to shorten the games, they can. I don't think it's going to make a huge impact other than injuries. But I think the fans are going to like it.
Yeah, they're like, people are ready for baseball as soon as football's over. And if you wait till like what they would be suggesting probably wouldn't start till May, like people would go nuts.
Yeah, that's a long time for baseball fans, considering, like I said, they're so used to this long time that they're in the season. Being able to shorten that down it's not going to be easy to convince people to be a part of that. But what do you think that says for Rizzo specifically? It's interesting to hear players talk out about shortening seasons. What do you think that says about Rizzo's character, or who he is as a baseball player?
Well, I haven't really heard much from anybody else, so it's like really seems like he doesn't does not want to be there right now. Pretty much, like he doesn't like playing that much. Maybe. I mean, he said like he would take a pay cut, to be shortened. So I don't know. Maybe he is sincere.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's always an interesting idea, and it's not like these rules can't be changed back. The NBA is talking about shortening the playoffs or changing up playoffs, and that could always be changed back to its original standings. Whereas this could be the same thing. You take one season where it's shortened, pretend that's like a lockout season, like how plenty of other sports have had, and just move on with it.
Yeah, but it will mess up like records and stuff. So pretty much they would have to restart everything. We'll have an asterisk, which it already has based on the steroid era. But
right, yeah. So we'll see. I think I don't know. I think it's an interesting change, and if they're going to make it, it's going to be a really bold move. But finally, we're going to move on to a little bit of NFL news here. We're going to move on to Colin Kaepernick, who met with the Seahawks. Could not answer a question properly with them when he met, and he did not get signed to this team. Now, Evan, this has been the topic of discussion with Colin Kaepernick for a long time now. Is keeping him off of a team solely based on his political views correct? Do you think that's a right move for the NFL to take?
Well, I don't think that's the only reason. I mean, based on social media stuff, he hasn't really he did a private, pro day basically. Mm-hmm. That doesn't really help. He hadn't talked much about football since 2015, and some of the other things he did, wearing pig socks and wearing a Fidel Castro shirt. I don't know who would pick him up. I know Miami probably will not pick him up, and they actually have probably one of the teams that has the most right to do so, unless he apologizes. But as far as that goes, like, I don't know who would actually need him right now. I mean, you don't want your backup to be more popular than your starter. I mean, that's why Tim Tebow had problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And but then on the other same note of that, it could be another Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, where he becomes one of the greater players in the league if he can utilize his skills. Now, personally, I want him back. I think he deserves to be back in the league. But if he sticks with his stance and continues to not play, I'm all for that as well, because I think he has a very strong stance. He started something incredible in society with political views going on right now. So I think if he wants to stick with this, go ahead. But I would love to see him get a second chance. I'd love to see mobile quarterbacks come back in this league, since we're kind of running out of those more pocket playing quarterbacks. I want to see that again. But he was supposed to be set as an example by the league by kicking him out, I believe, and that's deterring other players from doing worse stuff. So I'm interested to see if he can really regain his composure and being able to play in the league without causing a ruckus like he did last time.
I mean, I would just look what teams could actually use him, because the Aaron Rodgers thing, I didn't really hear anything about Aaron Rodgers until he started when Brett Favre left. So that's the difference. Like, Aaron Rodgers became great, but you didn't hear about him until he started playing.
That's very true. And we'll have to see, I guess, to see if a team picks him up. But that will do it for us today, folks. Thank you for joining us, and come back next week for another episode of What's the Word. I'm Phil Giovanni, and for Evan Williamson, good night.